if you're planning to visit Washington, D.C. this winter, I've got a whole lot of important updates for you in this video. Before we get to the specifics, hello, my name is Rob. I'm a tour guide and founder of Trip Hacks DC Tours. On this channel, I share my best tips, tricks, and travel hacks for visitors who want to explore Washington, D.C. And about a year ago, I started using a new YouTube feature that allows me to respond to your comments with YouTube Shorts. So if you have a question about an upcoming Washington, D.C. trip, leave it as a comment on this video or any video. And if I haven't answered that question yet, I'll add it to my queue for this winter. If you want to see all of the existing Q&A short videos, I've organized them into a playlist which I will link to in the description. Now, let's move on to a big picture question. Is this winter a good time to visit Washington, D.C.? Yes, absolutely. In December, there are lots of fun Christmas and holiday things to do. And then January and February are the 2 months with the smallest number of tourist crowds. So if you want to see the big sights without feeling overwhelmed by lots of other tourists, this is the time of year for you. Moving on to some important tourism updates that I think you should know about. Somewhat surprisingly to me, even though I warned about a potential federal government shutdown this fall, it didn't happen. We made it through, but only for a few more months. The new date to watch is January 19th. So keep an eye on that date if you're planning to visit around that time. On to the worst news of the entire year, which is that for the first time in over half of a century, there are no giant pandas at the National Zoo. The pandas left us on November 8th to return to China, which means there is now only one single zoo in all of the United States with pandas. It's possible that pandas might return to DC at some time in the future, but it's also possible that they might not. And the hits just keep on coming when it comes to the National Zoo, who announced that for the first time this year, zoo lights will no longer be free. Instead, it will be a ticketed event, and those tickets will cost $6. Children aged 2 and under are still free, but everyone else, including kids, needs a ticket. Zoo Lights has already started and runs on weekends through the end of the year. The zoo says this change is necessary due to a significant increase in the cost of running this event. My personal opinion is that this is kind of a bummer, but on the other hand, $6 is still a pretty good value for the caliber of event. You can still visit the National Zoo during the day for free, but the zoo closes at 4 o'clock, everyone leaves, and then to re-enter for Zoo Lights, you do need that special ticket. In museum news, the National Museum of Women in the Arts has reopened after a big multi-year renovation. I personally haven't had a chance to go to the reopened museum yet, but all the reviews I've heard so far are very positive. Another museum under renovation is the Folger Shakespeare Library. The Folger Theater has reopened, and you can get tickets to see a Shakespeare play. At the time I'm recording this, A Winter's Tale is the show on the calendar. The reopening date for the rest of the building, unfortunately, has been pushed back into 2024. Moving on, let's do some food and restaurant updates. A big one is that the cafeteria at the U.S. Agriculture Department headquarters has reopened. I made an entire video pre-COVID about eating here, and people have been asking me quite a bit lately for an update. So I am happy to report that it's reopened. Now, to set some expectations, this is a pretty low frills dining experience. And if you've been here in the past, there are fewer choices now than before COVID. But it is in a touristy area without a lot of other options. So if you're looking for lunch that's relatively inexpensive and you're nearby, it's not a terrible choice. Just remember that hours are roughly limited to working days around lunchtime. So it is closed on weekends, on holidays, and for dinner. The food hall at Love Makoto, called Love on the Go, is now open. You can get ramen, sushi rolls, Japanese chopped salads, and sandwiches. Either take it to go or eat it there at one of the wooden tables. Another new food hall, The Square, is open downtown. This one is definitely high-end. Think of it more as a casual, fancy restaurant rather than an upscale food court. I talked with a local restaurant expert about both on this year's podcast episode about food and restaurant updates. So check out the description for a link if you're curious to listen. Now, let's do a few important transportation updates. Metro will shut down 3 major downtown stations from December 18th through December 30th for critical repairs. These stations are Farragut North, Metro Center, and Gallery Place. Metro is doing this at the end of December because historically, this is a time period with relatively low ridership, as a lot of locals are on vacation and not working, and tourism and business travel are fairly minimal. But if these dates overlap with your trip, that's pretty annoying. So make sure to have a plan for how you're gonna get around if you're coming at the end of December. If you haven't seen it yet, I just published a comprehensive guide to Circulator Bus System, which is a great way for most tourists to get around. Another transportation update is for anyone who likes to use Uber to catch a ride. Regular DC taxis are now allowed to pick up UberX rides ordered through the app. So if you use Uber, call a ride, and a red and silver taxi shows up, that's not a mistake. It kind of feels like we've finally come full circle when it comes to taxi and Uber. Now, let's do a lightning round of holiday updates if you're going to be in DC through the end of the year. The Capitol Christmas tree lighting ceremony is this Tuesday, November 28th, and after that, you can see it through the end of the year. The National Christmas Tree Lighting Ceremony is on Thursday, November 30th, and then you can see that through the end of the year. The National Menorah Lighting Ceremony is on December 7th, and it will be lit during Hanukkah. Season's Greetings at the U.S. Botanic Garden is already back and running through the end of the year. This is one of my personal favorite holiday events in DC. Enchant Christmas at Nationals Park is back this year. This is not one that I personally recommend, but if you're really into Christmas and really want to check it out, it exists. Georgetown Glow is back for the holiday season. You can see pretty cool outdoor glowing lights all over Georgetown from December 1st through January 7th. And if you happen to be in DC the first weekend of December, the holiday boat parade is happening at the wharf on December 2nd. The downtown holiday market is back for another year. It's already open next to the Portrait Gallery and will run through December 23rd. Check it out if you're looking for more unique souvenirs. If you're into performing arts, A Christmas Carol is playing at Ford's Theater through the end of the year. And yes, because not everybody knows this, you can go and see a play at the Ford's Theater. The Nutcracker is playing at the Warner Theater for most dates in December. And technically not a Christmas play, but Disney's Frozen is coming to the Kennedy Center starting December 20th for about 4 weeks. Also not Christmassy per se, but definitely wintry. All the major outdoor ice skating rinks in DC are now open for the season. And if you're curious about how I would rank these ice skating rinks, I made a short video on this topic 1 year ago. So go ahead and click or tap right over here to check that out. Enjoy your trip.